I did a mural. So this just goes in to say like how I started. I had just, okay, so my baby just moved out of my room, right? And into her own room. So my room was no longer pink, and I hated it being pink. So I was like, I want to really spice up my room, right? I was like, okay, let me pick something challenging, like usual, and I picked painting tigers all over my room. This was the first one I picked. I just looked on Pinterest. I looked on Pinterest, TikTok, and Instagram. And I found this one, and I liked it. I wanted to change up a little bit though, or a little bit. I didn't want it to be shaded, because I was just going to struggle with that, and I figured I'd save myself from getting too mad. So it's just black and white. Okay, and then I wanted to add some color to it too. So then I went to Lowe's and I looked around at some colors and seeing if there was anything I could find that I liked. And I landed on these colors. My favorite color is green. This like kind of green to be specific. And I was like, okay, I want to do a dark one and a light one. So I picked this lighter green. And then the black's for the outline. It's messy like that because I had already painted. Okay, so I got all my supplies and then I started and I posted a video on my Snapchat and I asked a bunch of people where I should put it on my wall, like how I should order them kind of. And by my door when you walk in, there's like this little vent thing on the ground and then there's a light switch and then my door. So it could sit perfectly kind of close to the ground, like right next to my door, and I was like, okay, that's the perfect place to put this one. And this was just the one I did for my project. So I started off with pencil and I was like, screw this. It was making me really, really mad because I couldn't erase it good and it was sticking to my hand and I was picking it up and dragging it everywhere. It was just kind of looking too messy. So then I switched to like one of those, I call them teacher pens. The teachers always have them. And it worked perfectly. I could wipe it off with a wet rag and it wouldn't stain. So then I worked for one night and this is what I was left with after one night. There's a light switch, kind of a reference. Its head, well, there's a picture in here that shows how big his head was. But after the first night of actually trying to get things done, that's what I was left with. And then, how it's going. I posted a time lapse of the first half of it on my Facebook, and this is just part of it. You can see me, my baby was trying to climb over the baby gate.
Well, of course.
So I was yelling at her. So if you see me yelling, that's why.
Isn't that great? Have you done a lot of those?
Yeah. Growing up, I took a lot of art classes. I was in art school for a long time. And I have a bunch of other artworks I've done. Usually though, one thing I talked about in the blog was that I've never done anything on a wall. So I've only ever done canvas work. And that was challenging. Also, I'm a very picky artist and I kept changing the face shape. So I got that first picture, right? First one you guys saw it, and then I went back in sometime, I don't remember when, and I changed it to look like this, right? I erased, the teacher pen also stained my wall, kind of. So that's what that part is right there. But I didn't like how that looks. I was like, okay, I know I can do better than that, so let me fix it. So then I was like, okay, you're looking a bit chunky here on one side, right? So I fixed the face right here. It's hard because if you look at it, the tiger sits backwards, so one side of its face is going to be fatter because it's looking towards you, kind of like that. And that threw me off a lot, because it wasn't exactly centered, and how I started with the face and why I picked the face was because it was the only thing on the body that, without a bunch of empty space, so there's a lot of little details that I could focus on that I could split almost evenly down the middle. And when you're starting one of these, or something hard like this, that's the easiest way to do it. So I picked the face for that reason. Yeah, it was challenging. So I went from that to this, I think. And then I know I changed it from that to this, where it was just a bit skinnier and fixed down here.
Oh, yeah.
And I started to work on the body a bit, but I was I knew it would happen too. I was starting to lose motivation for it because it's such a long project, and let me tell you, I never want to paint another tiger ever again, but my room looks weird with just one tiger, so I kind of have to. But I was like, okay, what can I do? And I was like, I'm gonna paint it. I'm just gonna say, okay, now it's stuck there. So it went from like looking like this with a pen to this with the marker. And I erased the nose because I didn't like how the nose was looking. I wanted to fix it, but I did, you can see like where it's pen and where it's marker. I liked how it was looking then, and it motivated me more to keep going, kind of. And then I eventually worked on the body some more and went over all of it with this paint. And it looks a lot better. Like, it wasn't, I erased all the shading, that's what also I didn't like. I don't like how dirty it looked with a bunch of shading in it. So then it looks like that. Oh, and on my Facebook, if you guys want to, you don't have to, but there's a longer time lapse, like 3-minute time lapse of me painting or drawing the beginning part. I don't think there's any pictures of this
Have you ever thought of going into business? I know you're busy as a student, but people
one.
hire for murals.
I kind of already do that, but not as a business, like, I just paint things for a bunch of people.
Yeah.
For fun, like, especially for their kids, like, yeah. So I talked about the good and the bad. The bad, this was really frustrating. I haven't done any art in a very long time because I've been really busy, and I kind of wanted to do something that like made me go back to spending time by myself and like doing something I enjoyed. So it was really frustrating. I had to like kind of re-study my hand at this. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah.
I also fractured my painting hand in the middle of all this.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
So I kind of, it made me really, really shaky. So it was hard to get a bunch of little lines, you know? And I've never, like I said, I've never worked with this kind of art before. And the thing that, like, it pissed me off, I'm gonna say that, like, it made me so mad was, I usually could flip my artwork to, like, get a certain angle I wanted, and this I couldn't do that with, and I can't crawl around the wall, you know? So, like, I had to stand a bunch of uncomfortable ways and make sure I didn't smudge the paint, because the paint you can't erase. Like, that paint is stuck on your wall once it's on there, and I didn't want to mess up, so I took my time, though. That's how I got through that. How it's going. Okay, this kind of compares, like, the size of it. Here's my hand for reference. Yep. Once all the black paint was on there, I gained a lot of motivation. It kind of started kicking it in gear. And I'm gonna be honest, okay? This is where I stopped for about a week and a half, and the night before all of this was doable. I kind of grinded it out. But that's how I've always been with art. If I'm, like, I work best under pressure because it makes me not focus on the little details. Like, I have to move past it because it's due at a certain point. But there it was. I am gonna add color at the bottom, so that's why it's messy. But that's it's all of it complete. This also, I forgot to wash away the pen underneath it, so this you can't see on the wall anymore. That's pen, but I like it. There's some things if I really want to sit there, I can mess with it. But all in all, I think it's pretty good. Yeah. What I learned from it, I learned a new style of art. I definitely had to change how I've done art before to do this. I went back and looked at one of the pictures I had for this project, and I learned that tigers are allergic to lilies, and that's the flower that's on the tiger. It takes a lot of patience to do this. My daughter, she learned how to say tiger, and I still like art. It's just as fun as when I started doing it when I was younger. And just because something is challenging like this does not mean you cannot do it. You just have to accommodate that it's challenging. And I learned I could do something I was scared to try. Because I was really scared to start this. And this project motivated me to start it, and I'm happy I did. But now I don't know when I'm going to start my other tigers. So,